The Yankees' offseason just took another unexpected turn, and if you thought the front office was done making noise after bringing Cody Bellinger back, think again, because league insiders are now connecting the Yankees to a potential pitching move that could reshape the rotation without crossing into fantasy or hype territory. This is not a done deal, not a confirmation, but it is a development serious enough that rival executives are watching closely, sources are talking, names are circulating. And the timing of these conversations is what makes it fascinating, because re-signing Bellinger may have quietly unlocked flexibility the Yankees didn't have before. And that's why today we're breaking down what's really happening, what's realistic, and why this pitching link actually makes sense. Now, let's get into the full story, because this situation didn't come out of nowhere, and it's important to understand the context before jumping to conclusions. The Yankees re-signing Cody Bellinger was a stabilizing move more than a flashy one. It gave them a proven left-handed bat, defensive versatility across the outfield and first base, and perhaps most importantly, lineup certainty going into the season. By locking Bellinger back in, the front office reduced offensive question marks, which in turn allows them to focus resources and attention on pitching, something they internally viewed as the bigger variable heading into the year. This is where the trade chatter starts to make sense, because teams rarely operate in isolation. One move often sets up the next, and around the league, executives believe the Yankees are now in a position to explore pitching upgrades without forcing anything. According to multiple league-connected reporters, the Yankees have been linked to at least one established starting pitcher who is either under contract with a club entering a retooling phase or part of a roster logjam. This does not mean the Yankees are on the verge of a blockbuster, but it does mean they are doing what smart organizations do, which is checking availability, evaluating cost, and preparing options before the season puts pressure on the market. The key detail here is that the pitcher being discussed is not a rental, but someone with team control beyond 1 year, which aligns with the Yankees' recent shift towards sustainability rather than short-term fixes. This alone separates this situation from the classic deadline rumor mill. What makes this even more interesting is the type of pitcher the Yankees are reportedly targeting, rather than chasing velocity headlines or big-name aces with massive price tags. The focus appears to be on reliability, innings, and fit, someone who can slot into the middle or back of the rotation and provide stability behind the frontline arms. This approach reflects lessons learned from recent seasons where injuries exposed a lack of depth. Internally, the Yankees value pitchers who limit hard contact, keep games manageable, and don't require perfect conditions to succeed. That philosophy narrows the field and makes the rumored link more believable. It's also worth noting that this potential trade discussion gained traction only after the Bellinger re-signing became official, and that timing is not accidental. Before Bellinger, the Yankees had multiple roster paths open, including potential outfield or first base needs. Now that those questions are answered, the front office can have clearer conversations with other teams. Trade talks move faster when both sides understand what is and isn't available, and insiders suggest that Yankees execute. Teams have been transparent about which prospects are untouchable and which could be part of the right deal. That level of clarity often precedes real negotiations, even if a deal never materializes. From the other team's perspective, the interest makes sense too. Several clubs are quietly evaluating whether now is the right time to convert pitching depth into long-term assets, especially organizations that are balancing payroll or transitioning toward younger cores. The Yankees remain one of the few teams with the prospect capital, financial flexibility, and competitive urgency to engage in those talks seriously. That doesn't mean they'll overpay, but it does mean their phone calls are being returned, and that alone elevates a rumor from background noise to something worth monitoring. Another important angle here is how the Yankees view their internal rotation options. Publicly, the team has expressed confidence in its current group, and that's not just posturing. There are legitimate reasons for optimism, but confidence doesn't equal complacency. Behind the scenes, the front office is realistic about workloads, health, and the unpredictability of a full season. Adding one more dependable arm could be the difference between scrambling in July and controlling the narrative. Is rumored link fits that mindset? It's about insurance as much as upside. Financially, the move would also be manageable. Re-signing Bellinger did not completely handcuff the payroll, and any pitcher being discussed would likely come with a contract structure that fits within the Yankees' long-term plan. That's another reason this isn't being viewed as reckless or desperate. If anything, it looks calculated, the kind of quiet groundwork that sometimes leads to a deal weeks later when circumstances align, or sometimes never leads anywhere but still strengthens the team's understanding of the market. Fans naturally want names, and while specific pitchers have been mentioned in speculative conversations across the league, it's important to separate educated linking from confirmation. Nothing is imminent, nothing is finalized, and the Yankees are not bidding against themselves. What we can say confidently is that this is not smoke without logic. The fit, timing, and organizational needs all line up in a way that makes this connection believable without crossing into hype, and the balance is raw. In off-season rumors. One thing that shouldn't be overlooked is how Bellinger himself factors into this, beyond the stat sheet. His presence improves defensive alignment, reduces pressure on younger players, and allows the Yankees to be more patient with lineup construction. That stability indirectly supports pitching. Fewer defensive liabilities and more consistent run support can elevate a rotation without changing personnel. Adding a pitcher on top of that could quietly raise the team's floor, which is exactly what contenders aim to do before opening day. As we sit right now, the most accurate way to describe this situation is active interest, not active negotiations, but that can change quickly depending on how other teams move, injuries, spring training evaluations, or even one unexpected trade elsewhere that reshapes supply and demand. The Yankees are positioned to react rather than chase, and that's a strong place to be, especially for a team with championship expectations that understands the margin for error in October is razor thin. So what should fans take away from this? First, the Bellinger re-signing was not the end of the offseason story. It was a chapter. Second, the pitching link being discussed is grounded in strategy, not desperation. And third, patience is key. Not every rumor becomes reality, but the good teams are always preparing for the move before the move becomes obvious. Whether this particular pitcher ever wears pinstripes or not, the process itself signals that the Yankees are thinking proactively. As more information emerges, we'll continue separating fact from speculation, keeping expectations realistic, and focusing on what actually helps this team win. If you're looking for reckless headlines, this isn't that. But if you want to understand how real front offices operate behind the scenes, this is exactly the kind of development you should pay attention to, because sometimes the most important moves start quietly, long before the announcement ever comes. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want updates that stay grounded without crossing into misleading hype, make sure to subscribe, drop your thoughts in the comments on whether you think the Yankees should add another arm, and stay tuned because this offseason still has layers left to unfold.